black people. It's all about the unity. There's nothing they can do with us, so ain't nobody moving me. Like Dr. King, we make it plain and simple. Bringing knowledge and fire at reality's temple. Reality's temple. My black people, it's all about the unity. There's nothing they can do with us, so ain't nobody moving me. Like Dr. King, we make it plain and simple. Bringing knowledge and fire at reality's temple.
Why don't you study trauma? Then perhaps look at your people and look at yourself. And then perhaps you can understand why things are the way they are. The black woman cannot teach a black male, a boy, how to be a man. Nor can this adult with a penis. He can't either, because the only thing he's doing is mimicking and copying his racist slave master. And the slave master only going to continue to show you how to be a slave, not a man. Because two men can't occupy the same spot. If the black man ever becomes a man, you don't want to continue to live in this wicked, filthy house. But since you're still a slave and behave like a slave, that's the why you tolerate and continue to tolerate living in this country, begging, please love me. I want to be equal. One day, the little black boy gonna hold hands with the little white girl. Because you're a slave, you're a child. A real man would not be interested because I'm going to get mine. I don't care if my child ever hold hands with yours. What makes you so special that I gotta beg you? I'm not gonna beg no another man for nothing. You go get your own, and I hear you tell other people that. But when it comes to Caucasian people, you silent. You can hear a pin drop. You scared of them. A black woman can't teach a boy how to be a man, nor can an incompetent, weak, cowardly black man like most of y'all out there. And you get angry because the women see this and the women talk about it, and you want to keep it on the down low because you want people to think that you are like just any other man, and you're not. You're cowardly. You're living in another man's house and you don't want to get out. You got a roommate. You paying your equal share of the bills, but he don't want to give you equal access. And instead of leaving the apartment or the house, you're going to sit there and take it. What makes these people so special? And you got your women and your children looking at you, supposed to be the leader, head of household, the strong man. And you letting this other man punk you out. And instead of dealing with the perpetrator, this man that's punking you, you jump on your women and your children. You should be ashamed. A black woman cannot teach a boy how to be a man. But she can get him really, really close until his nature kick in. The lioness cannot teach the male cub how to be a lion, but at some point in time, as he begins to mature, his nature kicks in. But living in this racy, filthy, nasty society with all these different kinds of confused thoughts, your nature, Tommy Sotomayor, your nature has been destroyed, not by your mother, because your mother is also a product of this filthy society, confused, wicked society, because she has not been raised and she has not been nurtured to be the woman she should be. None of our women. It's not their fault. But in religious teaching, that's the reason why God sends a prophet. That's why God sends a messenger to bring you a message, to bring you instructions on how to return back to your nature. But you're so used to being unnatural. You don't want to hear it, and you reject that which can bring you back to yourself. Because right now, you're nothing but a dark-skinned version of your slave master. Or your cookie. That's what we all are mentally. I don't care how much you scream black power. I don't care how much you scream black conscience. You were born in this European environment. You don't know no other life except the life that the slave master gave us. That's why there is no black unity, because we still trying to fight the beast within. Because black people, real black people that come back into their nature, you are automatically drawn to those who are like yourself. But when you still have a slave mentality, it's still in you. And the slave was taught and conditioned to hate himself, hate herself. Then that's the reason why you are still divided, because you still have the Caucasian slave mentality in your mind, and you've taken pink supremacy or white supremacy and you colored it black, and you're nothing but a black version of racist. That's the reason why you cannot progress, because you've copied your slave master. And that's why I am not a black supremacist. I'm not a black nothing. I'm trying to be just what one should try to be, just an ordinary human being, as long as you are obsessed with color. And the black man is better because of melanin, and the black man is better because he's the original man. Then you are nothing but trying to be a racist just like your slave master, and you are no better than them. So don't accuse me of that nonsense, because I'm above and beyond such evil, and that's what it is. So you cry and you complain because you want to be the racist and knock the original racist out the way so you can take over. And what are you going to do? The same exact thing. We hear it in your talk and your walk, copying your slave master. Caucasian white supremacy is so, whoever thought of this, it's so, it's just powerful. It can change form. Now the victim of racism wants to be a racist. The victim of racism wants to be a racist. If I was a Christian, I would say, oh my God. Oh Lord, help us. So your nature has been destroyed. And your mother did not do anything. It has nothing to do with that. Your mother can try to protect you from a bully at school. Try to keep you away from drugs and alcohol. Try to watch your education. But there are things outside of the realm of your mother's physical protection. And if she does not know anything herself, what can she do for you? If she does not know what has happened, if she does not understand the trauma and what has happened to us as a people, or even to her as an individual, what can she do for you? Where she had a baby, it makes no difference. Nature is going to call, whether you are poor, whether you are black or white or pink or Asian, nature calls. So we're going to have, baby, whether you have a college degree or you don't have a college degree. Nature's going to call. But now that we bring the baby into the world, do we want our children to do better than us or worse? But when we are a fool, when we are ignorant, we don't care. We're just bringing children into the world so they can be raised, not nurtured. There's a difference. And when you are raised, most times your nature don't kick in. And being slaves for over 400 years, that nature has been destroyed in us because if the black man was a man, then you and our people could never have been slaves for over 300 years. It would have been an impossibility. The nature of manhood had to be destroyed in the black man. And the black woman did not do that. Tommy. The black woman does not control the educational system, religious influence, drugs and liquor, the movies, all these different influences that's flowing around attacking her baby's mind. She can barely stop it from attacking her own mind. And all this is happening because the black woman has not had a black man. For over 300 years, she has not had a black man. And instead of becoming a man, you begin to go backwards and digress and attack the very womb that you came from up out of. When there is information that you can use, that you learn from, that can put you on the path. See, we in this generation, we will never be the men we should be, but we can put ourselves on a path to get there. So we can develop. And so from out of the black woman's womb, she can bring forth the men we should be. When those who now know better, you say that you know better, then do better and start the catalyst. What you're saying and the thing that you say has truth in it. But you know about something, but you don't know how to solve it. You don't know because you don't understand what the cause is. So your solution is simplistic for a complex cause that you don't even know nothing about or understand. Coming from a personal viewpoint, my personal self, I was raised by women. I was the only male growing up around basically a lot of women. I am not homosexual, don't have homosexual thoughts, don't entertain such things. I knew when I was a little boy that the so-called men that was around me were not the kind of man I wanted to be. And I did not look up to them. As a child, I viewed them as weak. Just because they had a penis did not impress me. I knew something about these men who were whoremongers and drunkards. They did work, so they had a job, so they did not protect their women. They did not build nothing for their women or children. They just existed like many of you do. You just exist. And you don't look toward the future and plan and build for your future generations. But one day, see, I'm so happy that my nature, as I began to grow, regardless to my mother, regardless to the women that was around me, my nature kicked in. And I want to tell y'all something. See, when I was growing up, I believe my nature was able to kick in because I didn't hardly watch television. There was none of this influence. I was not around. There was liquor and foolishness around me, but I didn't really participate in all that. I was outside playing with chickens and cows and tadpoles and things of that. There was none of these crazy influences around me. So my nature kicked in. And I didn't know what a man is, but I knew that these guys that was around me, I knew they were not men. But I just copied, and I just tried to be a good little boy. Then one day, I was introduced to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And Elijah Muhammad answered all the questions that I had as a child. And when I began to study and read about Elijah Muhammad and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Medgar Evers and Shirley Chisholm and Harriet Tubman and so many of us, then I began to understand what man and womanhood really was and is. And they really wasn't the reality of what manhood and womanhood is, but they shown that in order to get there, you have to fight those who took your man and womanhood away from you. Martin Luther King was fighting racists. Malcolm X was fighting the racists. Harriet Tubman was fighting the racists. Until you get them out your way, you can't get your man and womanhood back. We'll never know what it really means for a black man and woman to be an adult. Right now, we are in a childish, immature position. And until we get these suckers off our back, we will remain slaves. There are many environmental factors that you have to consider that affect us, affect our minds. If I was a little boy growing up and somebody was telling me about homosexuality, then there's a good chance that I might have had developed homosexual tendencies, or if I was abused as a child. There are a lot of things that you have to consider before you judge people. And in religious teachings, it always say, judge not, lest ye be judged. I try not to judge people because you have to, in order to judge them, first you need to be able to walk in their shoes. I can't really judge you, Tommy Sotomayor, because I have not walked in your shoes. But I also at the same time, I cannot allow you to come out and attack the mother of this nation, the mother of this people, and talk about the majority of them is righteous. That's a lie. That's an outright lie. A lie you cannot prove. There are from 40 to 70 million black people in this nation. If the majority of black women was like that, we would really be in bad shape. So that's a lie. Then you mentioned President Obama. And many black people look to Obama as success. That's because they look to Obama as a sign of success because they want to be part of the society that don't want them. I'm going to say that again. I don't care nothing about Obama. Obama does not impress me because Obama does not do anything for black folks. So he does not impress me. But there are those who have a slave mentality. They look at Obama as successful because they have hope and dream of being in this utopia, being a true equal in this society. After 400 years, these people have shown they don't want nothing to do with you. They could care less. Why you want to continue to beg? Please, sir, as a citizen, sir, please, sir, one day we shall overcome. That makes us look so pitiful and pathetic. How can you call yourself a black man begging another man for equality in a house you built? and you die for this house in every war, and you pay your equal share of taxes. Matter of fact, more than your share of taxes. You get all the evil and the bad things in this nation, but you don't get nothing of the good. And you continue to still live here with your women and children. You the leader of the household, leading your women and children to hell. Obama, I don't expect Obama, and never expected Obama to care anything about the black community, because he's a true African. He was not born from a so-called African American. And he was raised or nurtured by a Caucasian pink female. And he was nurtured and raised in an environment of pink people. In fact, he did say, I believe, that his grandfather was a racist. And he heard racist things from his grandfather, and he tolerated. And you never hear him say, even though he was a racist, he still didn't say nothing really bad about his grandfather. So what do you expect from a person that is a half and half? So they must protect their Caucasian side. And it was the Caucasian side that raised them and made them what they have become to be. How can they come out and attack that? It's not his responsibility. His responsibility, he has chosen to side with racists, because he also have been brainwashed. You have to consider environmental factors, and that's not judging him. I understand exactly what happened to Barack Obama. But that does not mean I'm going to allow him to affect and harm and damage this black community. You've been made it, you have been making it, and we've been surviving way hundreds of years before Barack Obama, and we can continue to do so, but you will do better if either you conquer these races and get them out of power, or you separate from them. That's your only two options. Other than that, sit yourself down, shut up, and just be happy that you're a slave. With your money, with your material things that don't mean nothing, because you don't put value on them. Your slave master and other Caucasian people put value on your money. But you're a man. What kind of man are you? And since you know better and you're a man, I'm looking at all you guys out here. As a child, I would not be impressed by none of you, because none of you have the, I would say, the gumption. You have the bravery. You're not brave enough to challenge another man who's putting his heel in your throat. And with that said, I'm going to give pass the mic back to Tommy Sotomayor.
You are like how I describe God. And that's how we do black women. They cannot be criticized for their role in the genocide that's happening here in America. And the question is why? For 30 years, black women were able to tell black men they ain't shit, they gay, and they went on every national television show, went in front of every national white audience telling them how black men ain't shit, and there's a shortage of black men, that there are more black men in jail than in colleges. But now we had it in 2010, and before then there were guys who were saying it, but in 2010's when I showed up, 11, when I started saying, well, if these are the people doing the job, if this is the GM of the team and they keep hiring the players, if the players suck, eventually the GM has to get the blame. Black women, you are the general managers of these little boys. These little boys who believe now that openly rapping about homosexual activities is cool. These little boys who look like any little girl you find out in the neighborhood. The black race has become an androgynous race. It has. The black race looks like the 80s. You don't know who is what. The women look like men, the men look like women, the gay women look like, I mean, you can't tell who's who. We have grown men walking around. Let me tell you something. Pants sagging is just that's a homosexual thing, and I'm not going back to what somebody told me who's in jail or something. I'm saying if I'm a grown man, I'm not going to sit around another grown man showing me his drawers every time he gets up and walks off. There's nothing straight about that. There's nothing masculine about this man walking around with his hindquarters showing to me every time he walks by. There's nothing masculine about me having to walk like a duck to keep my pants up. There's nothing masculine about me having to hold on to my pants just to keep them underneath my crack. Not over it, underneath it. But when you are raised by a hypocritical group known as black women, then that's why you have these men who are just as hypocritical and emotional. Black women, you have failed. You cannot blame the man who left you with the baby when you are the one who was the GM of the team and you hired that man. You cannot keep firing players and blaming the players for not performing when it shows that you are a poor talent evaluator. Nobody wants to hold black women's feet to the fire on this. When I do it, I am an Uncle Tom and I'm bashing. But what I would like for you to do is to deconstruct my arguments. To say, he hates mama. He gay. No, why don't you understand that nothing I say, even when I'm arguing or not, when I'm cussing or not, because when I don't cuss, you come up with a new argument. You've never just realized and openly said what he's saying is true.
Very, very good. I would like to bring this debate to its conclusion. And I would like to say this first. It is not that Tommy Sotomayor is not speaking truth. In fact, it is an obvious truth. It is not a truth that you have to do research. Many of us just have to step outside of our homes and we will see many of the things that he talks about. In fact, some of us have some of this living in the house with us. It is not nothing new, Mr. Sotomayor. These behaviors have been going on in the black community for many years. In fact, it is part of American society. But there are so many of you who are so self-righteous and you believe that you are above. If you are so self-righteous, then why aren't you doing any better? Not even in your personal life, you're not doing any better. If so many people, how can these few affect you so much? It is because it is the society itself. American society is not righteous. In America, it is not illegal to fornicate or get drunk or be an adulterer or none of these different things. It is not illegal to be a homosexual in America. Why are you crying? Why are you trying to blame these things on black women when black women had nothing to do with the creation of this society? This is something that has been going on front or behind closed doors, in the public or behind closed doors, ever since the creation of this nation. Many of us, since black people were slaves, we had no idea of what the slave master and his children were doing. Some of us did because we were the victims. We were raped by them. We were sodomized by them. And we have fallen in love with our abusers. And we suffer post-traumatic slave disorder, slave syndrome. You don't understand that concept. You don't understand that you and your people have been damaged psychologically. And you don't care. Because your agenda is to make money from your own self-hatred of yourself and your people. And of course the racists will pay you for that. They would not pay you if you was talking about them, because they are the original ratchets. They are the original murderers. They are the, well, I'm not going to say original. Let's just say they learn how to do these things better than some other people. And as long as they can get another black person to throw us under the bus, they'll be happy. So nobody continues to look at them. They don't support me and would not support me because I'm going to remind you of your evil Caucasian people. I just recently had one of my subscribers, one of my listeners that been around me for ever since probably I've been on YouTube, on the internet. They sent me a letter, an email talking about somebody who was black, and they called that person a nigger. Then they say, you know I'm not racist. This is the reason why you cannot trust Caucasian people. This is the reason why you make a mistake including them in what you do. Because see, when people get angry, the real them comes out. So if I made this person angry, and in most cases, all of y'all who are lovey-dovey with pink people, the first thing they do when they get angry is call you a nigger. Why? Because it's been there all the time. They don't want to face their sickness. If I'm not racist, then you know that you got that word nigger and all these other evils inside of you, you need to work on that. But they don't. So I got to let you go. And I already knew it was going to show up sooner or later. In order for us to be successful, you have to let them go physically and everything that they've influenced our mind with. You got to let it go. Let those things go away. Otherwise, you become like them with dark skin. Black skin has never hurt nobody. Pink skin never hurt nobody. But it's a mentality that follows that pink skin that has been the problem for the last few thousand years. All over this planet. This mentality has caused harm not only to black people, but to animals, as well as the planet itself. In their pursuit of material gain, they poison the air, water, and the land. Chemicalize everything. The people all over the planet full of cancer, full of sickness. Because you have people who are not what in religion they call spiritual. They are material. They are of the flesh, seeking the flesh. So it's always about bodybuilding. Always about doing something to make the body look pretty, but their mentality is ugly. Their mentality is obese. They work the flesh, but don't work the mind. You have to understand that, Mr. Sotomayor. But you don't want to understand that because they've tricked you from birth. They've molded your mind. An African did not mold your mind. Your mother did not mold your mind. A racist society molded your mind. And now you think that you are right when you're really wrong. You are attacking victims when you should be attacking the perpetrator. And because the perpetrator pay you, will give you some money that you will give right back to him. Because if you was doing something, building for yourself, they would not give you a dime. And that's a fact. That's King Noble. That's a fact. In conclusion, you continue to say that the black woman is off limits. That the black woman can't be criticized. And that's a lie. Because every black leader, every black teacher have always talked about the black woman. Because she's our first teacher. The mother is your first teacher. So she is very important in the building of a new reality. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that the woman was 75% of his work, 75% of the problem. Because of her value, because how critical she is in the development of a nation, for the development of individual minds, because she is the first mother. But these mothers have been corrupted. These mothers' minds have been taken over by a devil, by a demon, by a society before they were even born. In order to judge somebody, if you're going to judge somebody, take in consideration all the environmental factors. Because they were not born when they was little children, you did not hear them. When I grow up, I want to be ratchet. When I grow up, I want to be a thug. When I grow up, I want to be a murderer. Something happened to somebody somewhere in their development. There's a reason why I am who I am. If I was not influenced by the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I probably wouldn't be talking to you. So there's something that happened to me that caused me to be here. Something happened to you, Sotomayor. That's why you act and behave the way you do. And some of these behaviors, some of it is beneficial, some of it is detrimental. And in your case, with all due respect, the things that come out of your mouth, although true, and that's why people are attracted to you, but it's also detrimental. And these people, majority of them are racist, pink racists. They will support you. And the foolish black folks, some of them will support you because they don't know black history. And they are self-righteous and believe that they are not who you're talking about. Well, the black woman can't be criticized. I talk about black women, but my concern is with black men. Because you claim that you are the leader and you are the provider. You are the providers and the protectors. If we were the leaders, why are you leading these black women to? Right back to the racists. What are you providing? Nothing. Everything, including your job, is provided by the racists. What do you protect? Nothing. So what do you expect? You expect what you get what you put into it, and you put into it nothing. If the black man protected the black woman, provided, and was a real leader, a competent leader, you would not hear her say anything because there's nothing to say. You are angry and upset because these women are sick. They want men. They don't want the thugs. They don't want the low life. They do want men. That's why they're speaking out. Come on, brother. What's happening? Something is wrong here. It is the black woman whose backs we stood on for all these hundreds of years, doing the best that she could to protect her baby so that we could survive. It took some of our aggressiveness away from us. But at the same time, now, since we understand what has happened to us, now it's time to get to moving. But people like you would rather blame we who are the victims instead of the perpetrators. In fact, you've fallen in love with the abuser because the abuser give you some money. I could care less for the wicked and their money. Their pieces of silver means nothing. Because if you stay on the path, you will gain that silver and much, much more. And the man that you were once under, you will rise above. And that's what they fear. They don't fear you, Mr. Sotomayor. They fear people like myself and brother Africanized. I said it right. Because you represent self-hatred and the continued trying to work within a society that hates you. But one day, the little black girl will hold hands with the little black boy. That's your concept. My concept and idea is separation, or I conquer these people and take it. So, of course, they would rather side and support you and hope and send you out as a guard dog against those who are really trying to do the work to raise the people to a better place. And you can't raise people to a better place trying to make them a complex slave, a voluntary modern day slave. I could care less about their money. I will work to make my own money and put value on what I do. I put value on the money. My money will be worth more than the American dollar. That's what a man should want. Not sitting around putting another man's face in his pocket and bragging about it. That's why I guess it's easy. I'm going to say it anyway. I'm going to say it. I guess why it's easy to let another man put his penis in your anus. Y'all sellouts. You're homosexuals in different kinds of ways. You let another man punk you. Let me say this. Wow, this gone a little longer than I thought. I thought I was going to be able to respond very short and brief, but we need to hear this. You say that the black woman has been in some kind of leadership position for 30 years. My question to you, well, I always hear 40 years. 30 to 40 years, the black woman has destroyed the black community. She's a leader. Just because a woman have a baby, she's the head of her individual household, does not mean she leads the community doing anything. In fact, all black people are divided. This set of black people doing this, that set of black people doing that. Everybody doing too much confused thing. What is the organization that these black women belong to? And who are their leaders that they've been leading, and what communities, what is this leadership thing that they are supposed to have been doing? Make them leaders. It makes no sense. And how do you know all this? do you know? Where are you getting your information from? You said from 30 to 40 years. Since you are not yet 40, you weren't even born yet. So where you getting your information? And you say 30 years, that makes you about 7 to 9 years old. Where you getting your information at? Because when you were 7 to 9 years old, you could care less about women being the leaders in the community. And was your mother the leader? That's why you know? What organization she belonged to? Where y'all getting this stupid information from? This is in reference to the feminist movement. And yes, black women did join the Caucasian women's feminist movement. Why did they join? Do you know why many black women joined the Caucasian women's feminist movement? Because the black man was in the house kicking her ass. Sorry, I don't. Well, I'm gonna talk like that right now. Kicking her butt. You, as men, was doing the same thing them racist Caucasian men was doing to their women. You was doing the same thing. You was not treating her equal. Mr. Man, leader of the household. You the provider, and you was beating your children, raping your daughters, and you was not treating the black woman as an equal. And in most of these organizations, it's the black woman that was really doing all the work, and the black man was getting all the praise. Black women was working their butt off. I heard that black women had to beg to get into the Black Panther Party. They wanted to help. In the Nation of Islam, black women was behind the scenes in the civil rights movement. Black women was on the forefront, women and children. Where are y'all getting this information from? So, in essence, the black man drove and caused black women to join that movement. Because if the black men were treating black women as equals, then that never would have happened. And like I said, and most of these black men were Christians. I'm the head of household. I run things. And black women saw that you was incompetent. And if you run things, how come you not running these races out of your neighborhood? How come you're not building for yourself? How come you got to depend on another man for a job? But you so great. You want to be like the racist Caucasian man, but you don't want to earn it. You just want the black woman to lay down and be a breeder, have your children, cook your meals, and be your slave. I don't want nobody to be a slave, black folks or women. The men treat women like the racists have treated black folks. But black men don't mind within a male-dominated society. They don't mind the privileges that a man get. Just like the Caucasian don't mind the privileges they get in a racist society. So who is the victim? The women are the victims to this evil. Just like black folks are victims to racism. But many black men like having that advantage, that privilege. I don't. I can wash dishes. I can clean up babies. I can cook. I can clean. I can share all the things in the household I don't mind sharing. And can do that. No big deal. If my woman is better at bookkeeping, if my woman can drive the car better, whatever she can do better than me, I'll be happy to let her do it. No big deal. Whoever is the most competent is the most important. It is not how many parents. It's not about you getting married. It's about the quality of the parents, not the quantity of the parent. If the parents are married and crackheads, you mean to tell me they're going to produce babies better than a single mother who don't drink, that don't get drunk? That's what you're saying? Because they married? Like what happened in the 80s? There was a lot of married people in the 80s during the crack epidemic. And they produced crack babies. And the crack baby had a mother and father. Both of them was on crack. And you mean to tell me those children was better than the single mother who did not participate in drug use? You have a problem. There's no black leader that I know of that run around attacking the black woman. Black women, as well as black men, always have been critiqued. But if the black man is the defender, if the black man is a provider, if the black man is all these things that we claim we are, then there's more pressure for us to step up. Because she can't do no better because she lacks protection. She lacks somebody to provide for her. And she lacks competent leadership. And you, Mr. Sotomayor, you are not a leader. You don't represent competent leadership. Because you attack and try to destroy those of whom you lead. And that's foolish. There are women in the early 80s and probably going into the 90s. There are certain women. And all these certain women, these certain group of people always get labeled the black people. The black women, the black men. That's a certain group of people. None of the women in my family went on Oprah to say nothing. I did not see none of my relatives, none of my female relatives on TV talking about black men doing anything. But yet and still, the black women do this, and the majority of black women do that. Stop lying. So these women went on TV and they complain about black men. So what? And the majority of the time, these women went on TV because they don't know no better. They don't know that they are helping the racists. They don't know because they want to be a celebrity. They want their face. They want attention just like you do, Tommy. They want somebody to listen to me like you do. They want their moment in the sun, in the spotlight, just like you do, Mr. Sotomayor. You're the same way. So why are you complaining? These women went on TV and complained about black men. And these black women don't own a television station. They don't own a radio station. Why are they allowed to do this? If the person that control the radio station, the television station, why are they allowing this? Because they know it keeps up the division, to keep the black folks messed up. Don't you understand that? And then, when these women do get on television and talk about these men, you say everything about them, but you did not say they were not telling lies. They were telling the truth, and they wanted to tell their truth out of frustration, because there is no woman on this planet that does not want a good man. That's what she wants, but she don't know what to do. And so the racists understand you don't know what to do, so they take advantage of you and then have you fighting among one another. They throw the rock, then they hide their hands behind their back. That's what happened. Don't you understand what has happened to us? And now these black men, because you have not grown, you have not matured, you don't know black history, you don't understand the enemy. I say that again. You don't understand the racist pink enemy, then you turn around and want to do the same thing that the women do. But you're not emotional. There you go. All the women do this. And the women, and tears be coming all out your eyes. You be screaming and hollering. Oh, the women. The woman, even though she was used by the Caucasian racist people, she still sent out a message to the black man that you have a problem. And we know she's telling the truth. But since that time, are you improving? No. You're not improving because you want to be like the racist Caucasian man. You want to go around sleeping with every woman you can get your hands on, throwing your money away, being a fool. But the Caucasian people have a country, and you just live in it. This is not your country. And really, you know this. Because if this was your country, show me your law. Show me your law. Show me what you control. You just live here. You're nothing but the white man's B-I-T, you know what I'm saying to you. Rhymes with itch. That's what you become. And instead of blaming the perpetrator, you blame the victim. In 1995, we had the Million Man March. What was that for? It was for atonement. It was reported close to 2 million black men went to Washington, D.C. to atone. Atone for what? For their mistreatment of women and children. Our neglect, our incompetence in relation to our women and our children. 2 million men went to Washington, D.C. to say this in 1995. And since that time, some black men, we have improved. But since many of us failed to teach younger people, and we don't control our schools and media and all like this thing, and we're right back. Now you have these pitiful, weak, pathetic men. And they have you as a hero, Mr. Sotomayor. You went backwards. Instead of moving forward, you went backwards. And since you have no idea of what is really going on, the only thing you can do is react. But you don't understand what you're reacting to. In fact, you have become a victim. You are a victim yourself. So I don't feel hatred towards you. I feel sorrow. You say that it is the black woman's fault for continuing to choose general managers that she have children by. That
my black people, it's all about the unity. There's nothing they can do with us, so ain't nobody move for me. Like the king, we make it plain and simple. Bringing knowledge and fire at reality's temple. Reality's simple. My black people, it's all about the unity. There's nothing they can do with us, so ain't nobody move for me. Like the king, we make it plain and simple. Bringing knowledge and fire at reality's temple.